What's going on, guys? My name's Logan with West Desert Wheeler. Welcome to a very weird intro where I'm not wearing a hat, which is actually kind of strange, but I still got my glasses. Sometimes it's one or the other. I don't think I've done one where I don't have both of those, but you know, let's get things started. Got my Rock Pirates Class 2 truck here. This thing is just awesome. So it started life as a VRD, I think it was the Stance. It started life as a Stance. I straight axle swapped it, and then I put it on the Rock Pirates RC carbon rails, and since then it's gone through and I've put a fancy transmission in it and all the fun things. I just put a new ESC and brushless motor in this guy. It was running a Fusion Pro, which is just a reliable go-to. You know, you can push it through hard binds and all that fun stuff. I just got the Dlux Stumpy Team Spec Holmes Hobby Revolver. So that's a really cool motor. It's really small. And I'm curious how it's going to do with this truck. This guy weighs 5 pounds, 3 ounces without a battery, and we're going to run it on 3S. And then we're also running a Hyper ESC in this guy. I haven't really tried out the Hyper ESC yet, so that's what we're going to do in this video. We're going to plug it into this little motor with the new ESC, see how she performs out here on the rocks. Let's go hit it and see what she does. Now, I was actually just walking through here and saw this line that I had driven up a long time ago and kind of forgot about it. So we're going to see if we can get this guy to drive up this incline here. Might take some wiggles and work to get up and through here, I'm not sure. But this truck has Axial SCX Pro shocks. And then we just put the new Vanquish straight axle knuckles on it. You can see the brass in there on the inside of the wheel. Vanquish also released these really good looking Battleborn wheels. These are the Deltas. I put all gold scale hardware on them. It's one of the few wheels that has come out in recent years that I just saw them and I was like, man, I gotta have those. So I bought myself a set. Oh, it's close. Nice, kind of funny. You climb the more aggressive, steep incline and that helped get the belly through. And that was kind of interesting, but not a bad pull for starting out this video. So we're still tweaking and tuning on this truck after 2.5 years. I really, really like this truck. It just does what I tell it to do, which is all you can really ask for from an RC. Seen a little bit of cogging there on the low end while trying to climb something, so a little bit of stress on it. I'm trying to get this front tire hooked up on this ledge, so when I really try and feather it, it will crawl smooth in that, but if it's between the sine wave, startup, sine, I don't remember the exact terminology. When it's between startup and like the full running mode at a higher RPM, it's got a little bit of cogging to it. And this truck has a 1356 tooth spur and pinion, I believe, with a VRD transmission. So if I really creep and crawl it like this, it's super smooth, not a problem. It's when I give it just that little bit more throttle, kind of the speed at which I kind of like to crawl. Although if I was competing, I'd probably be pushing the wheel speed just a little more on most occasions. Oh, that's a pull there, come on. Nice, that was cool. I don't know if I've ever driven that. Kind of looks like it's freshly eroded here after our rainstorms as of late. These aren't necessarily any of my trails or whatnot that I've come up with. This one, actually, I remember there being an RC competition a long time ago. And I remember this gate, like, my truck would not side hill through it. And I was trying to approach it from the bottom side. So coming from the top side, having that tire even higher up off the ground than it should be, now able to just side hill through here. Kind of crazy the progress and the build quality that I've been able to achieve after just a couple years. Now, granted, the RTR trucks and the kits have increased in their quality as well, but just fun to see the progress as things go along. Some obstacles that used to be extremely challenging, now my trucks can kind of just drive through them. Speaking of obstacles that used to be difficult and now that have gotten easier, we're going to see if we can make it through this one. This one's always been really tricky because of the double ledge at the top. Starting to torque twist a little bit. We'll try and go the other way with this. There it is. Yeah, pulled right up. We're not out the top yet, but now we are. Sweet. Another difficult obstacle that this thing can just motor through. This right here used to be a really cool overhang, and like you drove underneath a rock and a formation and all this. It was super cool. It's in a lot of my early videos out here And unfortunately, a buggy drove over it and snapped it off, which happens. It's open OHV. I'm not like super sad about it or anything, but it was a cool formation. Just things change out here. A lot of traffic has come through in those few years. But it does give us opportunities for new obstacles and different terrain. So we do see quite a bit of cogging with this setup. I am curious if I need to change pinion or maybe a different tune or something with this particular combo. But this is a small motor, so this ESC should have like not a hard time getting a small motor to do its job. Unless the motor itself is not enough for this truck. We've got Sydney with us. She's out here. Say hello to everybody. Give you some pats. I do see the comments of people saying give Sydney a pat for me. There they are, right there. So this area that we're starting to drive up into is just below a big obstacle that they used during the Trailbreaker qualifier and Trailbreaker itself this year. They hosted it in this location. So there's been some movement on some big rocks through here, and as well as buggy cages getting into rocks and kind of eroding some of the lines through here. There's a line up here I know used to be impossible, but it looks like they broke a corner of the rock off. And so we're gonna see if we can drive up through there now. It looks like a drivable notch at this point. And this is a good truck to go and attempt it with for a first time. Rocks are cold, but these BFGs don't care. Proline G8. Oh, trying to walk up that can be a little difficult sometimes. Proline G8, about 3 years old, lots and lots of miles on these tires. I keep them around because they work so good. But this is the spot I'm talking about. Something has changed here. I know that this was not an obstacle that looked like it could have been driven. And yet here we are, kind of making light work of it. Yep, cruise through that one. So now that's an optional line, which is cool. So sometimes it messes your lines up to where they're no longer possible, and now it's opened this one up. So it's give and take. That's how it goes. Things change out here. Let's drive back down to the bottom and try the obstacle on the right side of this rock. Look at that, super planted. The 380 can't lock our tires with the drag brake. Now I haven't tuned this ESC, maybe it's not 100% drag brake. But it certainly appears like it should be 100%, it's just not enough motor to hold the truck. Now let's see in the front here. You may or may not be able to see or notice the elastic bands in there by the suspension. They're yellow on this truck, or gold I should say. Those are D's bands from my buddy Dustin. Check out D's company on Instagram to learn more about how those work. Essentially they're an elastic band, and instead of being a limiting strap, that was close. Instead of being a limiting strap, it's an elastic that helps hold your suspension down on steep climbs, holds the chassis closer to the weighted front axle, but still allows full articulation. This truck's very narrow for this. Yeah, that tire driving into the top edge of it is gonna bind things up really bad. And that right rear isn't gonna wanna come out of this pocket. I used to drive into this line and kind of pivot off this part, use the roof a little bit. Nice, good weight balance on this truck, super forward bias. I was able to conquer that, so just had to take a different approach and make it happen. But I've been running D's bands on my trucks for a long time. Dustin makes a good product. He's one of the best drivers that I know. He's always out there competing. And if his products didn't work, he would certainly tune them to make them work better. And there's been different revisions of his products through the years. It's been really fun to watch his progress. So check out D's company. There will be a link down below. This ledge used to be barely possible by my trucks, and these days I can just drive over it. They don't care. They cruise through. I don't know what's going to happen here. This truck sits fairly low to the belly. We just got that front right to float because of the bind of the truck getting pushed into that ledge really hard and the way I turned it. The suspension is unhappy when it does stuff like that. And it crawled it. That was nice. I will say the VRD carbon kit could crawl that. I remember that very specifically. That truck really impressed me when it did that. So I was a little worried not being on portals it wouldn't do that easy, but man, today we hit the line. We might try the crazy line on this one. Let's try and get our tires on that right wall. I want to get the rear tire on the wall. Help stabilize this. We're going to see what happens if we try and drive straight up through here. I've never pulled this off with a Class 2. It's always been rear steer, big tires, long wheelbase, stuff like that. And you can see our front tire getting tripped up by that wall in there. Yeah, I could kind of see that happening. Every once in a while, you just got to try and find out. As good as this truck is, she's not ready for that one. But it should absolutely do this. Always liked this line. I'm really glad this line hasn't been run over, because you could break off one of these little ledges and kind of ruin the line. That's a little too aggressive there. Look at that thing go. I'm really tempted to try the buggy line through this, but I just don't think it'll do it with this body work and this size of tire. Pulls up and out so Sydney can get more pets. All right, time to break out the hard lines. I don't think this truck's ever attempted these lines, so I don't know that it's ever made it or not made it. Nice little bump up a big wall. Luckily, there's a lot of traction on this rock. Take a reverse. Just gotta slowly get that rear worked over. You gotta take your time here and don't get greedy. Punished with going all the way to the bottom. That's a bummer. Like I say, this one's a hard line, but it's also a dangerous line. Those D's bands helping hold that front end stable. It's going to drive it all the way up to the wall. All right, now we got to start the hardline part. Man, this truck's turned so sharp. Gotta love it. I think I've got 21% overdrive through the transmission with the lightweight VFD gears from Vanquish. And then I should have an underdrive ring and pinion in the rear or an overdrive in the front. I'm not sure. but it's gonna be one of those two. I prefer to have my trucks around 30% of overdrive, and doing both would push me up to 40, which would be a little more than I look for. Get it. Get up there. Get up there. Man, I made it look easy. And just one bump at the top. Wow, that was awesome. This truck is so good. This is why I keep it. This is why I don't change it much. It just works. I love this thing. Now, normally you're forced to drive up through this crack at the bottom. However, I do think there's a line up top if our truck can handle it, which, spoiler alert, I think it can. I don't know though. I don't know that I've ever really tried this other than with like my Sportsman. A little sandy, a little mossy. Sticking to the rock so far. Even with that 30% underdrive, was able to side hill through there across some slick surfaces and cheat driving through that lower crack. But we're still gonna go up on this notch and have some fun anyway. We're gonna try and exit up and out of this canyon. So there's two ways to get across here. This would be the more difficult line to go up this left side. The real question is, are we gonna exit out the top of this canyon on the left side? I think only my Sportsman, or was it my MOA, did it. Which I no longer have my Sportsman or MOA. I sold all of my WRCCA stuff. I also haven't competed in RC in over a year as far as the local comps. I just found myself getting too angry while I was competing, and it was taking the fun out of it. So I'm just giving myself a little mental reset for a while. Try and focus on why I drive RCs and have fun. I was getting too competitive, which normally I'm just not a competitive person. Which maybe I'm lying to myself. Maybe there are things I'm competitive about, but typically I don't think I am. Well, we can burn out and hold ourselves in place, but it will not climb this yet. I don't think things are going to get better for us off to the left, off to the right. So we exited without falling off. That was interesting. I think we kind of missed a critical hook when we kind of made this transfer. I want to keep this higher up left. Yeah. There it is. Nice. You have to do that in the transfer. You can't do it later because you need that whole front end off the left side. Okay, now normally we just turn right and drive up the top. That's easy. We're gonna see if we can go up this crazy steep incline, which I will say right now requires momentum and a little bit of luck. So we're gonna try and get positioned to do this and see if we can get secured up on that top left and then just keep going. So yeah, kind of once that left rear falls off like it did, you've lost the line. Sydney's over here making sure we're doing all right. Dang, that was so close. I think this might have it. Yeah, I think we're gonna take a pass on this one today, guys. All right, I've arrived at the kind of pinnacle of stupid, sketchy lines. Not only does the truck get put in danger, but myself as a driver, I'm hanging on a cliff edge, and it gets worse the further you go. So we're gonna start things off, see if we can make the drop in. I've only ever done this with rear steer trucks. So this is a line where if it starts to go, I just let it go. That's about all there is to it. And actually, I think we're on the wrong line, if I'm being honest. I don't think this is where I really, I don't think this is how I want to approach this. I want those rears down. Use that Reefs 777 to get that rear to slide down how we want. Now we're going to get on the belly. We're going to see how that goes for us. I think we're going to be just fine. What we're doing here is we're fighting being on our front links. I think if we just work our front end down a little more, we're good. Sydney, where are you going? And I mean, we're picking up tire aimed towards the giant ledge of death. It's really not looking good. Need to get that front tire across and secured, start climbing. It's not climbing the ledge I kind of hoped to be on. So now we're picking up our front tire towards the ledge of death. And there it is, the suspension settled in. Now the rear is going to try and pull us off. Go off, go off. And so from here, should be able to land the rear tire down, get the front across. Okay. Phase 1 of absolutely stupid line complete. Now we have to side hill across that. But this is where we're going to use our experience and things we've learned on how to manipulate the truck through competing to our advantage. We got to get her worked over a good ways further. Yeah, there we go. Okay, now, way up above, crazy stupid drop. You don't want to come off here. I think we got it. There's lots of traction on this rock. We're going to intentionally run into this rock up here. Try and get that rear worked over a little bit. That rear tire did not let go. It has lots of traction where it's at. So we don't want to push it too far. Oh man, sketchy. Forward weight bias is going to pull that front end down into that hole. We made it across the side hill. Ridiculous, ridiculous. And guys, just look where we are. Do not recommend this line. It's stupid. You're gonna break your truck and destroy it for no reason. And not only that, this is my good truck. I definitely don't want to lose this one. Now this line is where the question mark starts. I was pretty confident we could get through the rest of it. It's what it's gonna do through here that I'm very curious about. This climb is challenging because pretty much you can't screw it up. Well, don't get me wrong, you can screw it up, but you only get one opportunity to screw it up because you'll lose your truck. Yep. It's legit. Let's give her a little reset here. You know, truthfully, I don't see this working out. I don't think this belly likes getting through this pinch. Without rear steer, I can't manipulate the truck how I normally do. The only other option is to run it way over to the side in like super sketch city, which we can try, but man, when it gets on that VFD skid, on the motor skid portion, it just doesn't, your steering inputs don't do what you want them to at that point. It's got too much rear bias. This is so dumb. I'm not gonna make it up this line. I don't really care to lose this truck today. Unfortunately, taking an L on that one. That's the first time I've ever actually been denied. It took some real work with a couple of my cars. But I like this truck too much to destroy it today. We're gonna see if we can beat Sydney up this climb. Well, considering the fact that she's going the other way, I think we beat her. If you try and drive straight up that and just kind of one shot continuous this climb, this one can get real tricky. See how it lines us up. SL3D squid inserts in those tires, keeping our tires steady. And the steering angle, that worked out nice. Sweet. All right guys, time to get some final thoughts on this motor and ESC combo in this truck. I think a large part of where we're seeing the cogging here is just that this motor's too small for this truck. It's very possible. Those little Stumpies, man, they're powerhouses for what they are, but it's still not quite enough for a truck like this to be just ultra smooth, reliable torque the whole time. Revolvers get their torque from their length, and a 380 is longer than these Stumpies, so if you're looking for a Class 2 motor, I would say a minimum would be the 380 from the Holmes. The Dlux Stumpy is a great motor. It's lightweight. If you're doing just comp stuff and you can deal with a little bit of cogging here and there while you push through some binds, I would say it's probably worth the weight savings. Overall, it's done good for us, but we are just experiencing that occasional cogging that we're seeing. So I think we just need more displacement is the answer here for this particular truck. Or maybe a little deeper gearing could help as well, but I also need a little wheel speed to be able to bump up and through certain things. Yeah, I just drove this off camera a minute ago. I was concerned I wouldn't be able to duplicate it. But she pulled right through this rock pile yet again. Nice. What an awesome truck. So I definitely need to send a thank you to all the people who helped make this build possible. Vanquish Products with their VRD stance that this thing started life as, even though I've replaced just about everything on this truck at this point. Of course, we've got SL3D RC with our tire inserts. Sky RC helps supply a ton of parts like these Axial Pro shocks that I picked up from his shop just to try out, and I've actually been really happy with them in this truck. They haven't been leaking on me, and I like the spring rate that was in them. They seem to work really well on this truck. And they are tunable. We got the Dlux Stumpy in here. Dlux has been a supporter of the channel as well. I did pay full retail on this one. This is their limited edition Holmes, and I figured they had a bit invested into them, so full retail on that guy. I also had to wait till they were available, just like everybody else did. Ooh, it does not like being in there. We got D's Company in there. I know we're missing somebody. Rock Pirates RC, that'd be one of them, yeah. Rock Pirates RC with their chassis, and this truck has the rock lights as well. We're getting in trouble now. We did a 180 somehow. Getting the old thank you come again on this line. We're not giving up that easy. We're coming back in there. Which sucks, we kind of really nailed it coming through until those rear tires came off the ledge. Because you gotta balance it high enough to get the slider up and over the rock. But then you want to try and keep the other tires high up on the rock. Reefs RC supports all my RC projects on the channel. Which I'm getting excited. It's now December. Founders Edition trucks should be inbound momentarily. Just meaning December is when he promised to ship them. I don't know anything beyond that. Oh, come on. Come on. No, come on. Yep. Get me out of there. Come on. Oh, it's so close now. Oh, tripping over the rocks behind me. Good throttle blip on the ESC. Very punchy with this little revolver. Super snappy, which can be a good thing. Just super responsive in its throttle inputs. We've almost got this. Come on, truck. There's just nothing to push off of where we're at. Now we're digging holes and getting ourselves in trouble. It's getting, I would say, late because the sun's going down, but it's winter and it's only like 4:30 when the sun's going down. That sucks. Anyway, thank you guys very much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Greatly appreciate your viewing. I will have links to my friend's stuff down below. I'll have some affiliate links down there below as well. If you're doing any online shopping, use those affiliate links. It helps me out and I would greatly appreciate it. Check out westdesertwheeler.com as well. I've also got merch there, sticker packs, hard parts for RCs. Go check it out. Let me know what you guys think. We'll catch you in the next one. Keep the rubber side down.